الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. All praise is due to Allah, and we ask Allah to exalt, mention and grant peace to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to his companions and all those who follow them on the righteous path until the day of judgment. How do I excel? Let me tell. I hope you didn't think I was going to do a course on Microsoft Excel. Perhaps some of you thought, Excel, Word, PowerPoint presentations. That's the first misconception. Excel has a number of meanings. It is very much related to the word excellent, which is to go beyond the okay or the acceptable or the average. To be in a state of excellence is to excel. And Ramadan, we all know the phenomenon and the feeling of this Ramadan will be different, right? It's like something which we have every Ramadan. We say this Ramadan is not going to be like the one before. And then, sure enough, a few days into Ramadan, and you start having flashbacks of the previous Ramadans. And it just turns out to be that this one is turning out to be just like the one before, maybe worse. And that's a big problem. Isn't it? Isn't it a problem? How come every year we have this intent and determination to make this Ramadan different, and somehow it just doesn't happen? That means there's a problem. There's a problem. It's something which I'm sure bugs each and every one of us, and that indicates that there is something wrong. Now, it's one of two things, and I do want an answer from you. Is there something wrong in the promise of Allah, or is there something wrong in our actions? Could there be anything wrong in the promise of Allah? Allah promised that if we do what He required of us to do, He shall guide us and grant us what we want. If we don't get it, then the first thing is we do not assume anything negative about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, we should accuse ourselves of being the source of the problem and the problem itself. Which means we should turn and find out what the problem is. What is that problem? The problem, my brothers and sisters in Islam, why each Ramadan seems to be like the one before or even worse, is our iman. Our own iman. Our standards are low. We ignore our iman. I'm not generalizing. I'm speaking, in the majority. Of course, there are always a minority whom Allah Azza wa Jal chooses among His creation, which everything I'm saying does not apply to them. None of that applies to them. But generally speaking, we don't pay attention to our iman for the whole year, and suddenly in Ramadan we want miracles. We think that as soon as they sight the crescent and Ramadan is in, you think suddenly, because the shayateen are chained, you're going to become Shaykh al-Islam. And everything will work out in Ramadan. And that's a major misconception. And we do believe Allah is able to do things miraculously. Yes, Allah can change a person instantly if Allah wills. But Allah Azza wa Jal does that again to those who make an effort for that. We don't deny you may be bad. One of us may be bad the whole year, and in Ramadan he changes. Inevitably, it happens to many people. But these are people also who exerted themselves. We, on the other hand, sometimes just think that, it will just happen. The truth of the matter, my brothers and sisters, is that there's a gap. The reason why our iman is in this state is because there's a gap between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that gap must be filled. And it cannot be filled with anything except the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you try to fill it with some foreign substance, that foreign substance is bound to expire or go bad or cause more problems than solutions. The only thing which truly fits and fills this gap adequately is the revelation which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down, embodied in the Qur'an and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to the understanding of as-salaf as-salih, or the righteous predecessors. So, do you want to cry in Taraweeh? Do you want to cry when you recite the Qur'an? Do you want to enjoy fasting? It's a strange statement, huh? Enjoy fasting, because usually fasting is associated with something that you don't really enjoy. It's more like a burden for most of us. But do you want to enjoy fasting? Do you want to reap the benefits of Ramadan? Brothers and sisters, if you do, then we all need to make some changes. We need to make some serious, immediate changes. Otherwise, guess what? This Ramadan will be just like the one before. And the one after, if we live, will be just like this one. And we will continue in the same fashion until we pass away. Which is the condition of many Muslims. You see them, Ramadan after Ramadan, nothing changes in their lives. There's no improvement except the first few days and the last few days. The first few days and the last few days. A few cries, in the dua, and they think that everything else has been solved. And we will tackle this particular issue of dua soon, inshallah. And that's not a sound, healthy means of fixing our problems. So inshallah, I intend on providing myself and you with practical solutions on how to fix the problem, and consequently how we can excel in the month of Ramadan. First and foremost, we must realize that Iman wears out. You know what that means? You know when you buy a thawb and you wear it the first time, second time, or any pair of pants, jeans, whatever, after a few washes, it doesn't look the same as when you first purchased it. And with the passage of time, that same garment will reach a point where you can no longer wear it. It wears out. This is one of the, terminology, English terminology, that's what they use. Maybe in your other language or any other language you speak, they use other words. But in English, they say something is worn out, meaning khalas. It's stale. It's not fresh. Iman wears out just like the thawb, just like the garment. In the hadith of Ibn Umar in Tabarani and Hakim, and it was authenticated by Shaykh al-Albani rahmatullahi alayhi, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Very Iman wears out in one of you the same way the thawb, the garment does." So ask Allah to renew the Iman in your hearts. Very important. فَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ أَنْ يُجَدِّدَ الْإِيمَانَ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He renews Iman in your hearts. Now, when was the last time you made a dua, "Oh Allah, renew my Iman"? Maybe never. And that's one major problem, that we don't realize some of the prophetic narrations concerning the subject matter. That's why knowledge will get you there. When you know and you apply, you're not like the one who's ignorant. قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah says, say, are they equal? Those who know and those who don't know, they're not. Had we known this sunnah, had we asked Allah Azza wa Jal to renew our Iman often, then perhaps we wouldn't be suffering this particular Ramadan. That would have been solved already. But Allah musta'an. Alhamdulillah that we are receiving this information now. As they say, better late than never. So the first thing is what? Realizing that our Iman gets worn out, and we need to ask Allah to renew our Iman. Give us fresh Iman all the time, so we can always be hoping to get what Allah Azza wa Jal has promised for the believers. Why is this important? Because we have three narrations. Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaba ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbih. Man qama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaba غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه ومن قام ليلة القدر إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Three narrations, one about fasting the month of Ramadan, the other one is about praying at night, and the last one about Laylatul Qadr. Whoever fasts, prays, and specifically prays on Laylatul Qadr and worships Allah accordingly, out of Iman in Allah and seeking the reward, will have his or her previous sins forgiven. So the Prophet ﷺ gave two conditions for the previous sins to be forgiven. Not anyone. He didn't say man sama Ramadan غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. No, he added imanan wahtisaba. You must have iman. If the iman is worn out, guess what? We're missing one condition, and guess what? Sins are not forgiven, and guess what? After Ramadan, we are the same as before or even worse. You see the relation? Subhanallah al-Azim. Secondly, after realizing that our iman needs to be renewed, and so we need to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to renew our iman, we need to establish quality. This quality is so fundamental, is so virtuous. In fact, no Muslim will truly enjoy iman, will truly deserve Jannah, will truly be among Allah's chosen slaves unless we have this quality. Who knows what the quality is? Let's just, since some of you may be sleepy, let's wake you up a little bit. What is that quality that is so crucial for you to be a healthy believer? Not physically healthy, spiritually healthy. Something that if we don't have it, forget it. Okay, it's more general. Taqwa is there, ikhlas is there. They all actually, if you were to categorize them, they go under. It's just iman tayyib. Of course, we're speaking about iman. Still. No. Okay, I'll just give you the answer, just so you will not be at al-fajr. The actual thing which we need is known in Arabic as shawq. Ash-shawqu ilallah. That can be translated as eagerness or longing for Allah. For someone to truly feel that I want to please Allah, I want to get to Allah, I want Allah's pleasure. It's not like this is something trivial or something unimportant. Oh, who cares? As long as the money is good and the car is comfortable and the accommodation is wide enough, then whether Allah is happy with me or not, no problem. No. This becomes a priority for the believer. Where does one of us stand in terms of his relationship with Allah? Do we really long for Allah? Do we hope to meet Allah? Man ahabba liqa'a Allahi ahabba Allah liqa'ah. Whosoever loves to meet Allah, Allah will love to meet him. Do we love to meet Allah? Or do we have some other things going on? Too busy to even fulfill this element in our lives. In fact, if we were to establish this quality, then you will find that everything else will be, naturally solved.